restaurant on the radio. Well, welcome to Restaurant Review. I'm your host, Bob Bockelman, and we have been in extraordinarily cold weather for New Orleans. This last week or 10 days has really froze the you-know-what off of us. It's really knocked us wild with regard to pipes, plumbing, frozen everything. So we're hoping today's the first day. It's ameliorating. We're getting back to some warmer temperatures. Of course, that means a little rain. And also, for those who are not following, we're anxious to see our Saints starting this Saturday, moving on to victory and the Super Bowl in a few weeks. But meanwhile, life goes on in the restaurants and the musical community, and we, of course, always here happy to share with you that information. Musical guests have, been kind of difficult for us to get recently. We always ask that if you have any, at the end of the show, we give you our email, and you can go ahead and recommend those to us, because we're always welcome to have a new musical live guest to match our live chef. But what we're going to do today is go back in the archives, and this is probably pre-Katrina, maybe. A gentleman from the West Bank, a young gentleman by the name of Chip ABADIE, was nice enough to do a couple of sessions with us, and we still have them on DVD, and we're going to share them. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and take a look and listen to his first song. It's Chip ABADIE.
Hi, my name is Don ABADIE.
Oh, Don.
Chip. I have a couple of songs written. I'm going to play them for you today. The first one's named is Time. Here it goes. Inside a piece of humble pie lies a million lessons learned, and a million men will die without that simple lesson learned. But should we speak of times gone by, used uselessly at best, or silence those thoughts with memories of what we did with all the rest of our time, the rest of our time. And I remember her, often every day, the little way she mesmerized me with the simplest things she'd say. But that page has turned to move us on to new and different things. She still has me now, though, like she did then. How I wish that I could bring back those times, bring back those times. Don't let the sun set on time you spent, and words gonna write, 'cause you never know if there will be more time. Spend your life running wild, try your best to be carefree. Don't be one who sit and watch as his life passes by him helplessly. So many grown men have recapped their stay here in regretful prose. As for me, I'd rather be the one who's lived his life for every single second of my time. Yeah, the rest of my time. So spend your life running wild. Try your best to be carefree. Don't be one who'll sit and watch as his life passes by him helplessly. And don't let the sun set on time you spent and words gonna write, 'cause you never know if there will be more time.
Well, that was Chip Abadie. Hope you liked that little soulful song. And notice the time. Time, perfect song about time with the clocks in the back. And time keeps ticking. And hopefully one day we'll see Chip back. I know I don't think he's actively pursuing the musical career because it's so tough out there. But, if he's out there watching, we would love to have him come back in and do a few more songs currently and do it live for us. Okay, well, now let's get to our live guest. And as you know, the most important thing of our show is the new restaurant. We have a wonderful new restaurant in what I call Magazine Triangle, down by toward Race as the magazine starts to break off to go downtown. And there's several restaurants around there. And this has been formerly another restaurant, maybe a couple of restaurants, but it's recently been reopened, and we're pleased to have the chef today. It's called Jackson. And the executive chef with us is John Boulderson. John, welcome to the show.
Bob, thanks for having me. I appreciate your help.
Great. We appreciate you coming down. Now, the first thing, of course, we have to ask, and of course, we always have preference, like everyone does. We love our natives, and you're going to hurt my feelings a little bit and say you're not a native, but I know you're going to become one. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I was born in Newport, Rhode Island. It's a little ways away.
Distance from us.
Sure is, but I grew up in South Florida, the Fort Lauderdale area, and here I am now in New Orleans, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
And what really lured you here?
I came here originally to help my father build start a business here. And
was that post-Katrina?
It was just after, yeah.
We had a lot of people come in post-Katrina to help in a lot of ways, and some of them have changed their career paths or their existing thing when they brought them here. So,
yeah, we came about 3 months after the storm, hoping to bring quite a bit of jobs in building boats. Unfortunately, the yacht market kind of took a dive to the economic conditions. So I know restaurants, I know them well, so I said, let's open one here in a great city. So here we are.
I appreciate it. Okay. He's taken over a building. What's the exact address on Magazine? Let's go.
1910 Magazine Street.
1910 Magazine. This, many years before Katrina, was renovated. There's outside of it, beautiful, typical New Orleans structure. Was originally first renovated by a group that was on many, many years ago on this show called Sugar Magnolia. They did very well for a few years, and it's changed hands a couple of times. John has bought it recently. I think he said you opened in September of last year?
Yes, it was 1st of September.
There you go. That's on his door plate, giving you the address and the name. Let's talk about now. Here's a downstairs dining, beautiful arch. There's a small bar to your right, and then leading toward the kitchen. But there's some great dining places, very intimate underneath that arch. And this is looking upstairs. We're kind of jumping a few. We do have 2 dining rooms upstairs. Let's talk a little bit about capacity. Among all 3 dining rooms that you have, about how many people can you seat?
Probably with the 3 dining rooms, the 2 balconies outside, we can fit roughly 125, 130 people.
Great. Now, are you using the balconies for other than the Sunday brunch?
Yes, we are. We have those open. It's a little cold for now. But
I know. In fact, today we took these pictures. I'm hoping there's another one in the upstairs dining room. I hope the audience will understand. I couldn't go outside. It was raining so hard, so we had to take the photos through the glass, and of course that didn't give as much clarity as we'd like, as you can see there. But it's got 2 magnificent balconies for when the weather starts changing, as it will now, and especially with Mardi Gras coming up. Can't have a better place to dine outside, or for either an evening or certainly for Sunday brunch. It was always very, very popular for that. Okay, now what are your hours and days? Are you closed any days at all?
We're closed Mondays.
Typical restaurant
Monday. Chef needs
a
day off, so I take Mondays off.
That's typical Monday, restaurant Monday. But now you're open Tuesday through Sunday, and Tuesday through Saturday you're open lunch and dinner, right?
That would be correct. We open at 11 o'clock and we close at 10 o'clock.
So it's straight through, folks. For late eaters like me, that's the important thing. You don't have to worry about if it's crowded. To get in that normal lunch, especially the weekday workers. So you can go late afternoon, 2:30, when it starts to subside a little bit, and get a comfortable seating. And staying open to 10 o'clock. Restaurants are finally coming around to staying open later. That was the hardest thing post-Katrina, was that people couldn't get enough staffing to stay open that late. There were some restaurants closing as early as 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the beginning. So we're finally moving back to the witching hour. Hopefully that'll be the case. Now on the weekends, on Friday and Saturday, is it 10 as well you close, or you stay open a little later?
It's the same time throughout the week, 10 o'clock.
Okay. Now Sunday you do brunch, and that runs from what time to what time?
Sunday brunch, we open at 9 o'clock and we are closed at 3 o'clock.
Right, okay. And we'll go over a little bit more about that, even though we don't have really any pictures per se of the menu for the brunch, but we will certainly take time to talk about the separate brunch menu for those people, because we know how popular it is, and especially now with these two great balconies where you just love to be on a Sunday or a Saturday morning. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions we have for John. He's not a native, but he's made his home here now. Bring a great. What would you classify your restaurant style of cooking?
I'd like to say we want to please everyone, from as little as a sandwich to an elegant dinner. We please everybody.
Okay, that's a tough role to meet. Pleasing everybody.
Right.
I don't think anyone's ever been successful. Even our friend Abraham Lincoln told us that. But he does a darn good job. In fact, we're hoping, for those, we'll talk at the end of the thing, we're hoping to have one of our New Deal Dinner Club dining events there. We told that to John, because we're really pleased with the restaurant, the quality, and of course the look is just fantastic, and the service was just as good. So why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead? Don't forget, our director will always put those phone numbers up for you, and you can call and ask any question of John or us in case we've forgotten something or something you need to know about a particular dish, so don't hesitate to call. Meanwhile, we're going to start with the first. We always do try and do 3 of each. We've got an appetizer that's really a 2-part appetizer. We're going to look at something that everyone loves, and that's homemade tortilla chips. And these are definitely homemade. Come to you warm. Want to tell us anything specific about it?
The tortilla chips here, just basic, corn tortilla, but we serve them for several dishes. We have them with the melted cheese. We have them with the Diablo dip. Let's see what else we have that with.
Well, that's good. In fact, let's go on. We don't want to dwell a lot. Just to tell you, these aren't your store-bought chips, so they're nice and warm. And the most important thing is what you're going to be dipping into. This appetizer, we're going to take a look at. We've got a couple of bits called, as he mentioned, Diablo dip. This is a great starter for your table, whether it's 2, whether it's 4. And hopefully we'll get to see this real colorful dish. And John, why don't you go ahead? There we go. Why don't you tell us about this great dish that we got to? It's a cold appetizer, but just perfect with the warm, hot Doritos. Okay,
yeah. At the bottom of this dish here, it's an avocado, a mashed Hass avocado. And let me specify, it is not a guacamole. It's strictly avocado.
Everybody hears avocado, and they translate it to guacamole.
That's right. So we have a Hass avocado mashed with just some lime juice and salt and pepper. The second layer consists of a sauce that has mayonnaise, half sour cream, basically, with a taco mix seasoning, which flavors it nicely. Third layer is a cheese blend, which consists of Monterey Jack and cheddar cheese. On top of that, you're going to find some diced tomatoes. The diced tomatoes are seasoned, sauce with a little hot sauce. Above the tomatoes, you're going to have green onions, some sliced scallions, and then above that, and finally, is the chopped black olives. Nice dish.
So you see, folks, it's almost like lasagna. You've got layers and layers here, but talk about delish. And really great for, as I mentioned, as a starter. Whether it's just 2 of you or 4 of you, it's a great way to start a dish. It's cold, and of course with the hot chips, as we said, you couldn't get a better combo. It's got a little spice in it, but the heat level is not so strong that those who really squeak at or squirmish about the heat would stay away from it. So it's got a little bit of a heat level, but nothing near would ward off any anyone who is super sensitive to heat.
Yeah, don't you
go ahead.
know the name Diablo? Let's not let it throw
Right,
you
I'm
off.
glad
It's got a kick.
because we're seeing that in the last 10, 15 years. We're seeing that whether it's Italian restaurants, Mexican, Spanish restaurants, where Diablo is getting to be, whether it's shrimp or pasta, getting to be almost the hottest dish that the place serves. So we don't want to mislead you there. Don't carry your misgivings from another place that might have you burning at the tongue. That here it's not nearly like that, but it's very, very flavorful. Okay, now let's go into the next one, which is one of the signature dishes, signature appetizer, and that's your oysters Jackson. Now this comes in I understand, a serving of a half a dozen or a dozen. Is that right?
We have a half dozen and full dozen, correct?
Okay, we've got a half dozen showing for you here, folks. Very, very flavorful. It is a warm cooked oyster, and why don't you tell us all the wonderful ingredients you put together in it?
Okay, we start with the shucked oyster. On top of that, we're putting a spicy butter, which consists of Worcestershire sauce, some garlic, and some hot sauce. After that, we stick them in the oven to warm up the shell and the oyster. At that point, we then take it out of the oven and sprinkle some Parmesan cheese over it, and then stick it into the salamander, and that's what gives it its nice crispness on top. Great textures, great flavors, really a wonderful dish. Very proud of it.
So you got shrimp and oysters together. And the key thing that I don't think I heard when John was mentioning, oftentimes you get these wonderful oyster dishes that are cooked in the shell. And unfortunately, what happens when they get to your table, they're not nearly warm enough. And I think the reason why is the shell is cold. But John, if I understood him correctly, before he does anything else, he warms the shells. Is that correct?
Well, I start with the oyster and the shrimp by itself and put that in the oven. Excuse me, also with the butter. So you're heating, the butter's heating the shell
in the shell, yeah,
in the oven. And once it's warm and toasty, ready to go, at that time I then stick it in the salamander. Right. And the salamander is really what browns the Parmesan
browns
cheese.
The Parmesan cheese, right. So there you go, folks. I mean, because there's nothing worse than getting one of these dishes that should really be warm, and because the shell is chilled, that it's really overpowering. You're taking away the heat from the dish itself. So he really does it twice. One cooks it in the oven, and then, of course, to brown it uses the salamander to really cover turn those Parmesan cheese to beautiful golden brown. Now we've got another dish for you, which is really one of my favorites, and something that very unusual, even though it doesn't carry the signature name, but it's something I don't think you're going to recognize right up front. It's called caviar pie. Great name and a great serving. Well, we've got a couple of pictures of this. Why don't we tell them what comes in the caviar pie and then what we're serving with that to eat it.
The caviar pie is a dish that I've been doing a long time in my family in a catering business with my mother. The caviar pie consists of chopped egg, some cream cheese and mascarpone mixed, as well as some green onion chopped, and the caviar on top. Served with a very light cracker. This is a phenomenal dish. People are a little thrown back if they're not a big fan of caviar, but this dish with the caviar, it's a very pleasing dish. People should try it more often.
Yeah, a lot of folk reject caviar because they find it too salty. Again, you do not, this is a real change, so it's going to be, again, cold, wonderful flavor of the cream, but not sweet, not salty, really nice flavor. And he's picked a perfect, I call it a water cracker, I'm sure I'll be corrected on that, but a wonderful wafer cracker that really has no taste and strictly a consistency. So that way you're not adding something or taking away from the caviar pie itself. It's just a great thing to spread on because it's a nice size. It's not like something that crumbles really easy. It's only a tidbit, so it's hard for you to put your serving on it. So it's great for spreading. Really a wonderful choice. So I highly recommend if you want to give something. Again, it's something that you can share at the table. It's not necessarily, it's more than you need for one person. It's great for two, I would think, or even four. So it would be a great little appetizer to start. Okay, it's got a few more on the menu, but we're going to move on, and if we have time, we'll come back, as you know, to talk about anything we don't picture. Okay, how about soups? He standardly has his version of gumbo, and he tells us He's going to tell us why he doesn't want to call it a seafood gumbo. So we're going to let John tell us while we take a look and then talk about some of the other soups. Tell us about your non-seafood gumbo.
Well, there is some seafood in it, but you know, you hear seafood gumbo and you usually consist of some shrimp, some scallops, some oysters, whatever it might be that consists of the seafood, but we just have shrimp and andouille sausage. So ideally, I don't want to call it a seafood gumbo. This is an andouille with shrimp gumbo, okay? Starts off nice and a nice dark roux. You know, your basic ingredients for that roux. Cook it. I cooked this gumbo for about 3 hours on a slow simmer to get some nice flavors going in there. The shrimp are not added until the very end of the dish, so it's not a seafood-based gumbo where the seafood's in the gumbo and incorporating all that seafood flavor into the gumbo. The andouille sausage as well. You know, I'm very happy with the gumbo. I've had a lot of people compliment me on this gumbo. You know, especially from a New England boy making gumbo here in the South.
I know people, when they heard that back to that Rhode Island, they say, what in the heck is he going to try and do here to us? Because, I mean, you know, it should be the other way around. Just the opposite. I think he has a real good balance of flavor. He might not be totally New Orleans in all of his dishes or the heat level, but he's got a good sense there. And one thing he forgot to mention, a particular ingredient so local to New Orleans on gumbo, is filet. You know, in the old days, that was just standard. You didn't even have okra and filet. It was just standard. You never even asked. Today, it's rare that you find, especially filet. And so this comes standardly with that. Now, that's black and white issues with regard to proponents and non-proponents. So somebody goes, oh, well, I'm not going to eat that. Great flavoring. So he's done a real good job. His roux is medium dark, which I like. The darker the better. Good seasonings and good cooking. You can tell the style. You can tell that this gumbo has cooked a while. It's not a 45-minute gumbo. And then having the filet in it just really adds a whole new dimension. All right. Now, I know you also do some other soups, specialties sometimes, right?
Very
and
often.
I know we were going to picture one that wasn't ready today. Talk about a little bit about some of the other, maybe one or two of the really ones that you really want to knock the socks off with people.
The next soup I could probably talk about is this chicken vegetable soup, which consists of fennel. It's been a pretty popular dish at the restaurant. It has bell pepper, red and yellow bell peppers, some onions, some chives, some garlic. We have quite a bit of fennel, and you know you're going to get a good amount of fennel once it's into that stock there. Everything's made from scratch with this soup. We boil off the chickens with some vegetables and some herbs to make the broth. It's a very colorful dish. The bell peppers are pretty bright and vibrant into the bowl. And when I serve it, I sprinkle a little Parmesan cheese in there and a little bit of baby arugula right in the middle of the bowl. And
wow.
The server, typically I'd like to have the server wilt the arugula into the soup. It's a nice dish and very colorful.
Yeah. Well, you know, he mentioned fennel. He likes fennel. So if you like those little Christmas trees in your dishes, you're going to see a little later. There's one's real obvious. The flavor is very good, though. So I'm not discrediting. I think the use of fennel is very good. Now, we've got a couple of great salads for you, and the first one, I believe, is really an entree salad, even if it's not featured, and that is, I think it's called Cajun blackened scallops. Is that what it is?
A blackened Cajun scallop
Sorry,
salad.
I got it backwards. Okay, go ahead and tell us about this beauty.
This one starts off with a baby arugula. It has a citrus vinaigrette. It's a spicy vinaigrette with jalapenos, some orange zest, some orange juice from the orange, some lime, some lemon, and quite a bit of jalapeno. It has quite a bit of bite to it. Those white strips you're seeing there, that is a sliced jicama.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified, because at first look, I thought it was palm until I tasted it.
No, it's not a palm. It's a jicama. It's got some crunch to it, some sweetness. It's not overwhelmingly sweet. I don't know how many people are familiar with jicama, but it's nice in that dish. We also have some feta cheese on that salad sprinkled on it, as well as some honey chipotle pecans, which give it a nice little bite as well.
Yeah.
This dish has got a good bite to it. It's pretty spicy. You know, a lot of people order it not realizing how spicy it is, and it's got a really good kick to it. You know, in-house made blackening seasoning you can see on those scallops. We're very proud of our blackening seasoning that we do in-house. and some nice large sea scallops, as you can see in that
beautiful
picture.
Size scallops. So even though blackened is somewhat passé down here, I think because it's moving around and it's not strictly the blackened fish like we started or blackened chicken, we're now putting it on different items, and I think it really adds a whole new dimension, especially here in the scallop. I think it really was a great venue. Now, we always sometimes forget our friends, our vegans and our veggie friends, and so what was really good is one of his salads, and we want to feature that we're going to look at, is a grilled vegetable salad. He has it as entrees as well. So again, you people out there who always haunt me about vegetables, take a look at this great salad. Really delicious, hearty, so it certainly could be an entree salad. Go ahead, John. Tell us about it, please.
Yeah, this lettuce starts off with a mixed green lettuce. And on top of that, as far as vegetables, we have red bell pepper, yellow bell pepper, a grilled eggplant, grilled portobello. It's got quite an amount of grilled vegetables. On the top is a slice of some goat cheese with a balsamic vinaigrette. And then the drizzle you'll see around top of the goat cheese and around the plate is a balsamic reduction just sprinkled out on top of the vegetables for a garnish and a nice flavor as well.
Really delicious. Yeah, don't mistake the picture for chocolate. It's not a dessert. That's balsamic drizzle and really wonderful. Those wonderful flavors on the peppers and are grilled so meaty. It's, like I say, it's really for those who are vegetarians. You can understand why you can be, because many of these mushrooms and peppers, etc., are so hearty that when you eat them in this type of situation, they really are a great substitute for meat. So there you go, folks. And again, you can get, there are vegetarian platters or plates as well. So you can take those same veggies and put them in a plate as opposed to if you don't want it in a salad, come and cold. All right. He has some others, but we want to move on to entrees. Now, what we did, we thought we'd mix it up and show you the variety. As he mentioned, he wants to appeal to all levels, from sandwich to fine dining. So we wanted to take a couple of his unique burgers, and the one we're showing today is a Chipotle burger. So let's take a look at this, and it is accompanied by something that's starting to really make a headway in New Orleans, and that's truffle fries. So why don't you tell about, we got a couple of pictures closed as well as open to show that sauce. But tell us about your Chipotle burger, please.
All right, the Chipotle burger is an 8-ounce fresh patty, never frozen. You're going to find some pepper jack cheese and bacon on there. The Chipotle sauce consists of a mayonnaise and sour cream base with some of the Chipotle and adobo sauce. A phenomenal dish. I sell quite a bit of these burgers. It's one of our more popular sellers. And as far as the truffle fries, we have your basic fry, which is a skinny cut fry with truffle oil on it. It's a little bit of a secret, not that big of one, but it's quite flavorful, very aromatic, and people are really enjoying the truffle oil, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, folks, for those who remember, who follow the show, it was first introduced on our television last in December at the New Sazerac. We had the wonderful chef there, and he introduced us to it, and now it's really, in fact, if you read some of the local blogs, this is definitely one of his most popular dishes. And he has another burger, a Bernays burger, which we don't have a picture of, but he also serves that company, if you want, by the truffle fries. And both the combination of the burger and the fries are really tearing up the blog waves for those who read any of the food forums locally and all. So he's getting a lot of good credit on that, and that's why we wanted to picture it. We normally just show plate dishes unless it is strictly a restaurant that has sandwiches. But we wanted to show that to you so you can get a sandwich. Again, you can get that in the evening or in the daytime. Is that correct?
That is correct. Our menu
so even though it's considered lunch, it really is a lunch or a dinner item for those people who want to try a really good burger. And don't forget the Bernays. Again, don't forget, if the numbers I think have been put up, the phone numbers. If you want to call and speak to John or myself about any of the dishes we're talking about, please don't hesitate to. Now, let's move on to some of the entree dishes. And the first one is one, again, we had somewhat recently at our last... In fact, at our last, I forget when the show was in January, but also we had a dinner club in December, and that was at Amano, an Italian dish called gnudi. It's not really, I'm emphasizing, it's spelled Gnudi, nudi. and a lot of people think it as gnocchi, but it is different. So let's take a look. And John, why don't you tell us what? I jumped ahead. I'm sorry. I thought, I got the order of the pictures wrong. We're going to skip that and hopefully see the nudie next. But we'll go ahead and talk about this. This is his version of a blackened seared tuna with some sides. So it's got a couple of pictures of this, which is very, very good in a sauce. Tell us about this, please.
Sure. This is the blackened seared tuna. We serve all of these tuna, unless specified otherwise, as a rare piece of tuna. It is blackened with our in-house blackening seasoning. On top of it is a jalapeno strawberry butter that is melted and poured over the top of the tuna. The butter consists of some cilantro, jalapeno peppers, butter, and a good amount of strawberry as well.
It's interesting. Excuse me for interrupting. Again, balancing the heat of the sauce with Louisiana strawberry, whoever, but I think you said you did lose Louisiana strawberry, the idea of the freshness, sweetness of it. Mm-hmm. So really good. I didn't mean to cut you off there, but I wanted to show what a great idea to balance that heat with something sweet. Now talk about what you get, veggies and sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the sides.
All entrees come with a choice of 2 sides. That dish had one of them with the grilled veg, obviously. The grilled veg side consists of the yellow and red bell pepper, some eggplant, and some red onion. The other side, again, also has the balsamic drizzle over the vegetables on the entree as well. Next to that, you had the Boursin whipped sweet potato. And what I'm doing is mashing sweet potatoes, and then putting them, first I mash them and then I put them into a food processor that really gives them that smooth consistency, nice, fluffy, as you can see it.
Right.
Also in there you have some heavy whipping cream and boursin. I don't know how many people are familiar with boursin, but it's basically an herb and cream cheese and butter spread that a lot of people eat with crackers. And what I've done is put that right into the whipped sweet potatoes, blend it all up, and I'm very happy with that dish as well.
Really, really nice.
Really nice consistency.
It really is. Really, and the sweet potato fans, like myself, will really get a good enjoyment out of the flavor there. All right, let's move on. And I think I'm hoping the next one is the nudie, because we did promise it to you. And I was starting to talk. Let's see what it is. If not, we'll jump and explain what the next. Let's see if we can see what the entree is. Okay. Do we have it? No. Okay, there we go. Okay, beautiful. We got a couple of shots of this. As I was mentioned, this is the gnocchi is a dumpling. This is not. This is nudie. It's also a dumpling, but it's made of different consistency. So, tell us what the product is and a little bit about the dish, please.
This is very similar to a gnocchi. As most people are familiar with gnocchi, it's a potato-based dumpling. This consists of a ricotta cheese instead of potato. We have chopped spinach in there, a lot of egg yolks, a lot of eggs, and it's served in a brown butter sage sauce. Just basically cook down butter till it browns with some salt and some fresh chopped sage, and we fry some sage leaves and stick them in the middle in the bowl as a garnish. And you could easily just mix that all into the bowl.
It has a wonderful greenish color. It almost looks like a spinach gnocchi because it has that greenish tint, but it really is divine. Don't want to cut us too short, but I think we have a caller on the phone. So, caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from uptown.
Okay. Is that Chris?
Yeah.
Okay, what can we help you with, Chris?
I wanted to know if the restaurant is wheelchair accessible.
It's a wheelchair accessible.
Yes, it is. We have dining and seating for wheelchair accessories into the front. So by all means, please come in. We'll take good care of you.
Okay. And what time do you open and where are y'all located at?
Address and times. You must have missed the beginning. So.
Okay. The address is 1910 Magazine Street. And our hours Monday through Friday. Or excuse me, I'm a little confused. Tuesday to Friday is 9 to 3. Sunday brunch starts at 9. I'm getting confused, you guys. Let me correct
Let's start over. Tuesday, let me do it. Maybe I can handle this. He's closed on Monday, Chris. He's open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 in the morning to 10 at night. So you can go any time during that to have lunch or dinner. He reopens on Sunday from 9 to 3 and does his brunch, which we haven't talked about what dishes are on that. And then he's closed Sunday night and then all day Monday.
Correct.
Okay? That's 19 Ton Magazine, 10 down by, as you get toward Race, as you're going toward downtown, where Magazine forks off. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for calling
you.
in, Chris. We appreciate it.
Okay,
Okay.
bye-bye.
Bye. All right, let's see. So we wrapped up the nudie. I think, did we have one more entree? Do you remember? Let's see. Anything else you want to say on nudie?
No, you can see the picture there. We just asked you to come in and try. You will not be disappointed. That I
Again,
assure
so
you.
we've shown you a pasta, we've shown you a tuna, and again, by the way, unless you ask for it, he serves that seared tuna raw, which is the way I like it. So make sure if you
Rare.
want something medium, or hopefully not more than medium, that you tell him. So even though it's seared on the outside, that inside is going to reflect the way you want your tuna. And we've shown the what was the other dish? I'm drawing a blank now. Okay, but I think we've seen all the entrees. Is that right?
As far as for your show, absolutely.
Okay. Well, why don't we talk about... Oh, no, here it is. The reason why we forgot about this, folks, this is something you can get as an appetizer or as entree. And really, remember when I was telling you about all those little miniature Christmas trees? That's what this is. This is French dish. Of course, we'll put it in English. And this is his version of mussels. And wonderful broth. Wonderful taste, and again, you can usually serving this with those wonderful truffle fries. But let's go ahead and tell us how you do your mussels. And
Okay, this mussels. This dish is probably my most proud dish that we have at the restaurant. We start off in a saute pan with some olive oil and an herb butter. And herb butter basically consists of a lot of parsley and basil, some oregano, some garlic, and a little bit of lime juice in there as well. We melt down the butter and the olive oil, and then we're adding some andouille sausage, some chopped andouille sausage, as well as some salt and pepper. Stir that around. At that point, then we're going to add some thinly sliced fennel. The fennel gives a lot of nice flavor into this dish. Once that browns off a little bit, we add some white wine, let that cook down, and then we throw our mussels into the saute pan from that. And as soon as they open up, I just give them another 15 seconds or so, put it onto a nice bowl, as you can see here, and I garnish it with the fennel ferns and another thin slice of the herb butter on top. This dish I'm very, very proud of. We sell quite a bit of them.
And the only thing I complained to you, and not really complained, but I asked for, and even though I couldn't eat it because I'm tasting all these dishes, what did I say this dish needed? And you told me, you assured me, Bob, we served that with your mussels dish.
If asked for, we will give you some bread.
And
but
I'm
it
telling you,
comes with
folks,
fries.
ask for it. Don't wait to be asked. If it doesn't come, even though you got those great fries, you got to have some bread. I mean, not a lot, but there's one thing about whenever you cook mussels, the broth that comes off of that is absolutely one of the tastiest things. It could be a soup in itself. So you definitely want to get, especially if you have a little French loaf or something like that, will absorb it. You talk about divine. Now, of course, it's going to fill you up, and that's what I'm sure you didn't want to do because he wants you to get through the dessert. But at the same time, definitely asking for some type of bread to sop up that wonderful broth. Don't let it go to waste because it truly is the most flavorful stuff if you haven't had it before. So a great dish. Don't be afraid of mussels. I know we limit ourselves here so much to oysters and shrimp, but we need to expand, and I think mussels are just a wonderful, wonderful flavor. All right. Anything else on the entree menu? We only have a couple of minutes before we go back to the song. Is there anything else that you wanted to? Of course, he's got. Every restaurant has to have a good steak, and he's got a couple of them. He's got a filet and a ribeye. Is that right?
That is correct.
So if you want that, and he's got something else that's very New Orleans. He's got a fried shrimp and oyster platter. So that's really a neat thing to do because especially New Orleans, Lent coming up, and we love our shrimp and oysters here. So to have that as a platter, that's great. In addition to what he has, and again, I know he does some other sandwiches. Do you do any po' boys? Yes, you do. Look at this po' boy. Tell us about the po' boy you do that you feature on your menu, because this is one I want to try.
We have quite a few po' boys.
The one that's on you. All right, I'll tell the pulled pork po' boy. I mean, more and more restaurants are pulling out pulled pork and putting them on po' boy bread. And I mean, this has got to be good. I haven't tasted it, but I'm anxious to go back and try it.
The pulled pork, we sell quite a bit of pulled porks, actually. This is something we've been eating in my family quite a long time. It's a 12-hour slow-cooked pork butt that we cook, like I said, for 12 hours. We shred it the next morning. We're serving that with homemade barbecue sauce first on top of the shredded pork, and then after that we're going to put our shredded coleslaw right on top of the sandwich. So you have the slaw on top of the barbecue sauce and the shredded pork. It's just phenomenal. Served on a nice French roll po' boy bread there. People are really enjoying that, and that's also served with fries or coleslaw and a homemade fried stuffed jalapeno pepper that people are really enjoying as well.
Okay, one more po' boy because then we got to go, and that's of course one that's got some notoriety over the years at one particular restaurant, namely Mother's, and that's a debris po' boy. Tell us about it real quickly, how you do your debris. It's going to be quick, and then we're going to come back after the musician.
The debris, again, this is a slow-cooked bottom round beef that we're cooking for, again, about 12 hours. We're putting a hot pepper relish served with that. Consists of some pickled cauliflower, pickles, carrots, bell peppers, and some jalapenos as well, pickled jalapenos that we're putting in the food processor with some olive oil to weten that up a little bit, and then that'll be spread onto the bread with the beef. Another great po' boy. All of our po' boys are quite a good size as well, so you won't leave hungry.
Okay, John. Before we go back to the musician, folks, even though I had one more question on there, and we'll come back after, but we do have another caller on the phone, so let's take that caller. Give us your name and where you're calling from. Still have him?
Hello, my name is April.
April, pretty. My birthday month. Go ahead.
Yeah, we worked on a magazine, and we've been into the restaurant a few times, and we were wondering if you have local delivery.
Yes, we do.
You do?
We do have delivery. In fact, we just started yesterday.
Oh, yeah, because I didn't know about that. Wow, that's a great idea. Great question, April, because there's so many people living in that area now.
Yeah, we actually just started delivery as of yesterday. So,
in fact, you're really starting as you call.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
So why don't we do this? And that's going to be at lunch. What are your hours going to be for delivery?
The same business hours.
So anytime during the business hour?
Absolutely. Just call us up. Obviously to a limited area. We're going about a mile square around the restaurant, but we'll be happy to get it to you guys.
And is that going to be?
Thank you so much.
Is that going to be free delivery in that mile? Or
yes, it is. It
free,
is
April. We
delivery.
Can't beat that, huh?
We just asked you to tip the driver well.
Oh, okay. That's you? Oh, no, you're cooking. All right, why don't you give them your phone number? For those, that's a great question, April. It really is, because a lot of restaurants don't do takeout. Don't do delivery. Why don't you give them your phone number so that I'm sure April will have it, and anyone else out there who wants to try it the easy way, who don't want to go inside and enjoy the great ambiance, but want to have something quick at their house.
Okay, everybody pay attention. It's a difficult number. It's 504-JACKSON. JACKSON.
Well, why don't we trade? Did we know that in numbers, though? Because, some of us are hard to translate letters into numbers.
I knew you were going to ask me that, Bob. I'd have to look at the phone.
So we really have hurt the restaurant now. Get someone to translate it for you. Look on your phones and see what the numbers relate to. But it's 504-JACKSON. So it's easy to remember, but until you're ready to dial it, okay? But don't forget, Tuesday through even Sunday on brunch day?
We will deliver Sunday as well, absolutely.
So remember, there's the address, 1910
That
Magazine.
phone number is not correct. So just so I inform everybody who's watching, that phone number you just saw in that last spot.
That's not clear enough for them to read that.
Good.
The right number is 504-JACKSON. Just look up the numbers. And even you can call and during brunch on Sunday and have that's a remarkable event. Even raining days and all, you can.
Well, until we get flooded in, we'll do our best to get you the food.
Wow. What an accommodation. Okay, we're late for our musician. We have more questions too on that. But anyway, let's go ahead and shift it. We're going to go hear Chip ABADIE do a second song for us. Take it away, Chip.
Name of the song is The Way It Is. Some things just never work out right. And every time the going gets rough, it up in the fight. That's the way it's gonna go. Some things won't work out like you planned. It's like finding the woman you've always wanted. She's already got a man, and you're trying just to make ends meet, and time is flying. And you're still on the street, but it ain't worth crying. 'Cause you gotta get up, you gotta knock that dust off. See, everyone falls down. Going gets tough, that's when life's biggest prizes are won. That's the way it is. Seems like I'm searching for something and I don't know where it is. It's more like I'm searching for nothing, 'cause I won't go where it is. It's that catch-22 when you know what you should do, but it's easier said than done. But if to yourself you stay true and the right things that you do, then you'll find yourself the happier one. And that's the way it's gonna go. That's the way it seems for sure. That's the way it is to me. It's the way it is. Moral to my story is not for fame and glory, but rather that I should speak my mind. When I get knocked on my butt, I can jump back up and say, so what, then I'll never get left too far behind. That's the way it's gonna go. That's the way it seems for sure. That's the way it is to me. 'Cause you gotta get up, you gotta knock that dust off. See, everyone falls down. Going gets tough and life's biggest prizes are won. That's the way it is. That's the way it is.
That's the way it was with Chip ABADIE X number of years ago, and we wish him well and would love to see him again. Okay, folks, for April and all those people who've been that big question you had through modern technology, we can actually give you the phone number of Jackson. It's 504-522-5776. Is that right?
No,
So,
it's 5766.
See, we still can't get it right. That's my mistake. 504-522-5766. So whether you want to call the restaurant for information or whether you want to order something with delivery service, that's the number. And don't forget, we hadn't talked about the website, because you can see the menu and get the correct phone number there. And that would be www.JacksonNola, JacksonNola. That's two N's there, folks. Jackson and Nola. And here's the tricky, .net, N-E-T. If you put that .com, you're not going to find them. You're going to go to Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So Jackson Nola for New Orleans, Louisiana .net. Okay? Great. Okay, we're back with Executive Chef John Bolderson talking about his new restaurant, Jackson. We've gone through most of the menu. We want to take a look at a couple of the wonderful desserts and then just chit-chat before we close. So let's take a look at our first dessert. This is something unique to his place, and he calls it stuffed cookies. What a great idea. Everybody loves cookies, huh? Cupcakes were popular, but cookies are just as popular. Let's talk about this. This is a normal serving of 4, and tell us what you get with those 4 stuffed cookies, John.
Okay, here you have 2 different stuffed cookies.
Fillings, yeah.
The first one is a chocolate ganache. So you will receive 2 of those. The other half, you have a hazelnut ganache.
Now, for those who are not really pastry freaks like myself, they might not know what a ganache is. The type of, I call it like a deluxe mousse, but it gives you maybe an idea, but not a real good idea. Why don't you tell us, for those who want to know what actually goes into a ganache, so they'll know. And I know, folks, I'm hoping he's going to do this because we forgot to mention that he is the executive chef over the entire menu, but his lovely wife or sister, I've forgotten.
It was my wife.
His
My
wife
gets
is
all
the
credit
pastry
for all the
chef.
baking.
Is the pastry chef. So hopefully he can interpret what his wonderful wife does. Tell us what a ganache is, and I hope you know.
God, he threw me a curveball there.
Okay.
Let's call my wife.
Call his wife. That number 504-522-5766. Hopefully she's there. But I'm telling you, if you think of a mousse, it's richer than a mousse. And I don't mean the one the antlers, the wonderful mousse that you can get for dessert. That's like a soft pudding, really delicious. So he's got 2 cookies stuffed with chocolate for those chocolate freaks, and 2 with hazelnut, which is just a wonderful flavor if you haven't tried it. I use that in my coffee now all the time. Okay, so in addition to the cookies, he has another really good, another chocoholic, and that is a chocolate turtle cheesecake. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Let's take a look and tell us about this beauty.
The bottom here of this turtle cheesecake consists of a cookie crust, chocolate wafer cookie. Above that, you're going to find caramel, a melted caramel over the cookie crust. Then you have a chocolate cheesecake, very decadent, very rich, very filling. Over that, you just find your basic caramel drizzle over the cheesecake for a little flavor.
So let's go over this again. We got to get multi-layers like we start off in the appetizer. We got cookie crumble, or cookie crust.
Yeah.
And what's our next layer?
It's a caramel.
Caramel, okay.
And then you also have some nuts into the caramel as well.
So caramel with nuts. This would make a great cookie itself. And then what do we have on the top is
It's a chocolate cheesecake.
the chocolate cheesecake. And then drizzling with caramel or what is the beautiful drizzle?
That is a caramel as well, made in-house.
Okay.
And my beautiful wife gets the credit for this dish.
Beautiful. Again, yeah. Any questions on the pastry has to go to his beautiful wife. Now, are there any other desserts you want to mention that your beautiful wife makes?
Sure. We can talk about the bread pudding. My wife does a beautiful bread
That's
pudding.
tough because, that's a New Orleans tradition. She do a standard, or do you know what type of bread pudding she does?
How we do ours is it soaks with a little brandy, a lot of cream, some milk, a lot of sugar. And what difference ours from other ones, we put some chopped candied pineapple on top of the bread pudding.
Okay, pineapple.
And then what we're doing
Polynesian style.
Yeah, we drizzle a little brandy sauce over that, served very warm. It's pretty hot.
Any other ones? Any other desserts? That's it?
Not off the top of the head, no.
No, well, that's good. Well, those are 3 great ones. That's the important thing. Now, let's talk about, as we mentioned when we first came in the restaurant, you see he's got a cute little bar. I mean, it's inoffensive looking, and a lot of days now we have such big bar tray that takes up the whole length of the walls of the restaurants. He's got one that's in the really entrance lobby before you even go to the dining room upstairs or the back dining room. So it's innocuous. I've seen people eat there. It seats maybe 4 or 5 people, but great drinks. So if I understand you're offering anything to the public. You've got wine and drinks. Is that right?
That's correct. We have a full bar.
Full bar. And wines, you've got both domestic and international, you think?
Correct. Yes,
and
we
whites
do.
and reds, anything to complement the dinner.
Champagne, for those who like champagne.
Is that served on the brunch too, on
Yes,
Sunday?
it is. It most certainly is.
Excellent.
We have some beautiful wines, champagnes, a lot of beers. We have a pretty large selection of beers, and as well as a full bar.
Okay. Real quickly, let's go over the brunch menu, and we don't have time to more than just delineate. We can't explain a lot. So let's go over some of the main dishes that you're serving at the brunch on Sundays from 9:30 to 3.
Okay. Some of the brunch menus, items that we have. We do a lot of Benedicts. We have a surf and turf Benedict, which consists of a medallion of filet mignon, some sautéed shrimp with our wonderful hollandaise sauce over a English muffin, served with either truffle potatoes or cheddar jalapeno grits. We also have a fried green tomato and shrimp Benedict, which consists of a fried green tomato, which you people here in the South are really enjoying. Then we have shrimp and our poached egg and shrimp, and again our hollandaise sauce with that. People are really enjoying that dish as well. We have a scallop Florentine. We're going back to that blackened seared scallop.
Anything else? Real quick.
Yeah, over the bed of spinach, poached egg, hollandaise sauce again. A Grand Marnier French toast. Come in and try some really wonderful French toast.
French toast is good. That sounds really good. Okay, folks. Well, you can call the restaurant and get information off the menu. We do want to tell you one more thing before we go and close the show, besides thanking John for giving up his valuable time. We want to invite you to join us at any of our dinners. We have this great dining club called The New Deal, named after President Roosevelt, for those who are old enough to know him. And we actually patronize our restaurants, either restaurants that have been on our show recently or will be on. Just as we talked about, we're going to be setting up one for Jackson because our diners are anxiously awaiting. If you would like more information about it, it's free to the public. We'd love to meet you. It's a way for you all to interact with our restaurant chefs and ourselves. You can either email me, and I know our director's going to put this up. That's Bob, B-O-B, at rrevue.com for Restaurant Review, rrevue.com. And you can use that to recommend musicians, anything you want about the show. That's general email. Real easy. Or particularly, you'll go to www.meetup.com, meetup.com, the new-deal, D-E-A-L. So if you'll put that up, www.meetup.com / I didn't say slash, the-new deal, okay? Either way, you can get to us and get more information. You can see all the dinners. Okay, again, thanks to John. Try his restaurant. We look for you at the restaurants. And we're going to let Chip take us out with his last song, and we'll see you coming up into restaurants.
Your eyes. Here I am again, up late at night. I'm off a million miles away, lost in your eyes. Peace flows here, it runs river wide. I found the only thing I want, here by your side. So hold me now and wrap me in your heaven. I'd swear that you're an angel in disguise. I'm thankful for the places I can only go when I'm lost. When I'm lost in your eyes. Might as well float when you walk and sing when you talk. You might as well. It's all the same to me. You might as well glow when you smile and wear this halo for a while. You might as well, 'cause you're my angel. Got my eyes going blind and my mind's thinking crazy. Fun to think of what it is I wouldn't do for this lady. Say to my baby, I love you until I die. Let the past be the past and the future you and I. Trust me now when I'm saying I love you, and only you could trust me then when I'm saying I love you. Only you, want to be with only you, hugging, kissing only you, and always true to only you. Oh, so